Hello, it's your old pal Sam and DJ. How's everyone doing?
How are you doing today, viewers?
I mean, look at us. We're wearing the same thing all week long. How
Now,
do we do that?
people might think like, oh, that's probably because you record on the same day. No, it's why change clothes?
Ooh. I'm not trying to impress anybody. I'm not trying to impress you. Let's talk about Stargirl. We're talking about season 1, episode 5. Hourman and Dr. Mid-Nite.
Yeah.
He is our man.
Yes.
Quickie synopsis.
Zing.
As Courtney sets her sights on recruiting more members of the Justice Society of America, Pat finds himself one step closer to learning which ISA member may be in Blue Valley. Meanwhile, a search for Rick Tyler leads Courtney, Yolanda, and Beth Chapel to Cindy Burman's a Halloween part. It's party, but the Y got cut off. The end of the sentence got cut off for that.
But we all know what they meant. We know what you meant.
Who could say? But yeah, let's dive into this episode. I like that they're not dilly dallying. They are really, man. We're gonna get Green Lantern very soon.
Well, it was interesting.
You get that vibe?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because Jeff Johns did an interview this week. I can't remember with whom. Sorry, where he talked about like these aren't Easter eggs. Like we'll be getting Thunderbolt. Like there's a reason we're showing the Green Lantern. And as we talked about past episodes, I would be surprised if we got a Green Lantern, but not surprised at all if we got an Obsidian or a Jade, like Alan Scott's kids in the comics, because we do spend a lot of time with that. I'm very, very happy that Pat found the bag of JSA items because I feel like keeping him and Courtney from working together, I feel like is a mistake. I feel like my favorite parts of the show are when they're collaborating. As great as it has been to see Courtney interact with her high school friends, which
not your favorite part.
Not my favorite part. And also, if we can be honest, she just saw one of her fellow high schoolers get brutally killed. And her first thought is like, what other of my classmates can I put into danger?
She clearly learned her lesson.
Yes.
She's like, you know what I got to do? I got to arm my classmates.
Boom,
so that way
that's
they
the
can
secret.
protect themselves.
Well, and it does, her reasoning, it is a silly TV show reasoning, but I think for that mechanism, it makes sense when she's like, we don't know what adults could be part of the ISA or JSI. What? ISA. Injustice. That's right. The ISA. So it has to be kids. I'm like, all right, that's fair. Sure.
Yeah. No, I like it. It's also like this is a Disney Channel original movie logic. It's great. Like again, not a knock. I'm digging it so far. And this is like the budget on this show is crazy cool.
Yeah.
The way like also making Dr. Mid-Nite like way cooler in my book.
Yeah.
I do have an Easter egg that I want to make as the thesis of this episode later, but let's talk about that. But remind me something about Dr. Mid-Nite.
I will remind you.
Have to talk about
also.
But his goggles were really cool. The way they brought that to life, the way that they're like he's kind of like you, and I like the way that they're filling out the ranks of this super team. Like you've got the person who can fly with Stargirl and shoot lasers. You got Wildcat being like the sleuthy fighter, but also has like blades. You've got Hourman being the heavy hitter.
Yes.
And you've got Beth Chapel's Dr. Mid-Nite being your tech-based, but also like your oracle, your person behind the chair kind of role. Like maybe they get into the fight, but really they're there as a support.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's interesting too. And I liked a lot of what they did with Rick Tyler's backstory in that it made sense. It's weird that we're kind of like making our man of all the characters, like the edgy guy, hey, listen, every team of superheroes needs one angry white guy. You know what I mean? Like, but
you got stuff.
It makes sense with his parents, the way they've set it up with his parents passing and his, I guess it makes sense that the parents passed him off to the uncle because he's the only family member they had, but like, woof. What a bad choice in hindsight. What a bad choice. And I do like that they're setting up Pat to kind of be a surrogate father figure. And I hope they kind of continue down that road because boy, does Rick need it. I don't know. What did you think about Rick Tyler?
I didn't mind him. I liked the whole opening of the episode was actually really well done. I dug that like this brother showed up and he was like, hey, like I was on my way to get a haircut. What am I doing here? Like, I love that it was like he did not know what he was signing up for to show up here.
Yeah.
Hey, just so you know, signed over my son to you. Here's the house. Here's the car. Bye-bye. Peace. I'm going to go bye-bye now. and Solomon Grundy being used.
Yes.
I thought that was really cool. I will now plug this podcast because I'm a big fan of it. John Centris does the Word Balloon comic book podcast. Jeff Johns went on to that podcast to talk about the first 3 episodes of Stargirl. We reached out to Warner Brothers and was like, hey,
if Jeff's free,
if Jeff's bored and he wants to come on, he can come on. But hey, maybe he'll see this and he'll come on. We would love to have you.
To be fair, he is a busy boy. Look at the movie magic we got going on here.
It's amazing. But yeah, anyways, he was talking about Solomon Grundy and like that he would be used more often. And I really dig it. Also, there's like a precedent a little bit because Solomon Grundy was a big part of the Earth 2 storyline for New 52.
Yeah.
But also that story has nothing to do with what's happening now in this show. And that's totally fine. But I like that Solomon Grundy was used on Earth 2 and now he's a bigger role in Stargirl, who is also on Earth 2.
Yeah.
And the effects on this show, like we said, like the budget behind it's impressive. Like not only with like Rick Tyler, even though Rex Tyler is more fun to say. Rick Tyler punching the car. I thought that was really cool, like effective the way they showed that.
I also like the little bit where it ends up at Pat's shop. I thought that was a nice little bit of continuity.
Mm-hmm. I did like, because he's got to know, you know, like he's got to have a hint of what's happening. I did like, I thought it was going to be the wife of the Wizard's car. It's like, look what we found out on the road. Like I was like, oh no, of course it's going to be the car that Rick punched. But I thought it'd be like trying to like pawn it off a little bit, like that he didn't see it in the junkyard. It was like, oh, there's an accident. Oh no. And I'm like, wait, how long are we going to do this Wizard storyline for? But that's not what happened at all. I did enjoy it, and I did like that Pat was being perceptive, and his relationship, like you said, with Rick. Hey, maybe Stargirl and Rick will get together, and it'll be just like the Flash, where all the siblings make out with each other. Adoptive siblings.
So
be very clear,
specifically. Listen, over here on the CW DC shows, we like it when the step siblings or adopted siblings make out with each other
because legally it's okay.
I guess.
Exactly. I guess. I guess.
And it's also interesting how this show emphasizes treats like really sad things as jokes. Like we've talked a lot about Pat and his relationship with the JSA and how it's maybe a little bit sadder than the show lets on. Beth Chapel's relationship with her parents is like really sad. And I'm very excited for her to maybe start hanging out with this outside of the superhero stuff. It's like, girl, you need friends. Mm-hmm. And I like the way that they're differentiating everybody's powers. Cause again, it's not like the JSA has like the most iconic power sets or characters.
Everyone punches it to varying degrees.
Yeah.
Like there's like Jay Garrick punches fast.
Mm-hmm.
Green Lantern punches green.
Yeah.
You get it. Like it's all punches.
And I wonder if the show will do the Spectre. That would be pretty crazy. Because he was a big part of the JSA.
Kid Spectre. A kid that gets tied to the vengeance of God.
The Wizard's kid. He
comes back.
Turn him into the Spectre.
You don't get to have an adult life. You get your soul is now bonded to God, and you dole out vengeance violently
and ironically. But it does lead to my favorite joke of the episode with Beth with the glasses, and it's like, rookie mistake, like letting revealing your secret identity. That's how Red Ant. I don't remember what was it. Red B. That's how Red B got killed. I'm like, that's a pretty solid bit.
That is, and also the effects for watching the Rex's parents die. Like he's sitting in like the car goes by him. I was like, this is emotional, but also like Beth, you could probably turn this off so he doesn't have to see his parents fly into a tree and die.
It also reminded me a little bit of in Detective Pikachu, where they've got this hologram technology that recreates a scene. You're like, based on what? There's no cameras around. Where did you get this information that you could make this hologram?
I kind of want to rewatch that movie now, just for it was cute.
I rewatched it with my wife. It is a lot of fun.
Oh, good. Yeah. All right, then I might actually check that out. But back on topic. Mm-hmm. Speaking of, so we got Hourman, we got Dr. Mid-Nite, we've got Wildcat, we've got Stargirl, and we've got Stripe C.
Yeah.
Not my favorite thing to say, I'll be honest, but we got Stripe.
Yes.
An important thing to notice: we know that this is basically present day. This show.
Yes.
And so 2020, and the JSA died 10 years prior. Mm-hmm. And that's confirmed that it is modern day because when Beth puts the goggles on and looks up Charles McNider, the original Dr. Mid-Nite, we see that he died in 2010.
Got it.
And also important. You see his birth year.
Yes.
And he was born in 1914 and joined the JSA in 1941 and was active as a human being until 2010.
So he's basically 100 years old when he died. Yeah, because I was under the impression that we were just kind of moving up the JSA timeline to the modern times or whatever. It's like, no, we're still dealing with all the World War II stuff, which just feels needlessly complicated.
How?
Yeah.
How are they doing that? Like in comics, we just accept that they are old people.
Well, then,
but Starman clearly wasn't old.
Yeah, Starman was not old.
Dr. Mid-Nite wasn't old. When he got killed by the Shade, that looked like a regular man.
Yes.
That didn't look like an elderly 80-year-old man that got like sucked up into a ball of oblivion. That's a regular guy.
Yeah, it feels needlessly complicated. I don't know how. I don't even know if the show's going to dive into that at all.
No, because what Jeff Johns kind of talked about is that there weren't really any flashbacks in this season to the JSA, which is a bummer.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in season 2 we could see more of that, because like who doesn't want to see like that, like in World War II or something. Like it'd be cool. But yeah, they are the age that they are supposed to be in the comics, which is confusing.
Yes.
And so it could mean magic. It could mean like Nick Fury in Marvel Comics. It's like the Infinity Serum or something like that. Or it's the it could be just a sliding timeline, which doesn't make a lot of sense for a TV show.
No, it does not. Also, it maybe explains why the JSA was so handily wiped out by the ISA, because they're all 100-year-old men barely holding their own against like young adults. I don't know. We'll see how that plays out. Speaking of the ISA, we do get a little bit a brief appearance of Artemis Croc, who, if you watch Young Justice, you'll know is Artemis.
Or Arrow is a smaller, not as good role.
Yes. And then we get a little bit of the Fiddler, which we saw a bit of last week. She shows up again this week with weird coin flipping guy that gives you chocolate coins that are poisoned. Classic. Two-Face should do that one. He should pick that one up. But Pat says the Fiddler was a guy with an Irish accent, and the janitor has an Irish accent, which is just weird. Like, wow. I mean, sure. We'll see how it goes.
Oh, by the way, did you may have mentioned this when we did our first episode breakdown, but did you notice that Sportsmaster's already in the show?
As I think one of our viewers made a comment that he is the one that runs the gym, which I did not pick up.
His last name's Croc as well.
Yeah.
So it's like, so there's the connecting tissue between Sportsmaster and Artemis, and that'll be fun to explore. And also like Artemis as like an antagonist could be cool in the beginning, and maybe she joins the JSA as Tigress, or a younger Tigress, or as like an Arrowette or whatever. They just called her Artemis even though her name was Artemis.
Yeah, it's a bad code name. That's a bad code name.
Also, I looked up Red B. He was a DC. He wasn't I mean, of course, he's going to be like an official DC character, but yeah, he's not around really anymore.
Mm-hmm. Well, because he let his secret identity get out.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
What a
Don't
chump.
say the names out loud. Yeah, like, and so I like them using as reasons. Like, I like the reasoning behind the show of them having secret identities.
Yeah.
The Hourman costume, like Stargirl's, looks really good, but the Hourman costume looks really, really cool.
Yeah.
Also worth mentioning this to you. Did you see that Alex Ross voiced online that he did not get credit for the portraits that were used in the JSA headquarters in the show?
I saw some of those headlines, but I did not see his specific complaints.
It was more just like he just posted the comparison between his art and then what was used in the show as the promo art, and also the giant banners in the JSA headquarters, and that he had not received any credit for those, which is a bummer.
Yeah.
And hopefully that gets righted in some way, because yes, DC does own the rights to that art, but we can see what you're doing. And like, I'm sure he got credit for like the Justice League posters that they were doing, which were like the very Greek god-esque poses for all the heroes. Like, show credit when it's due. And the show has been very much about legacy and everything. And I don't know, like, I hope it gets resolved behind the scenes, because it seems like it has not been yet.
Yeah.
But look, DC Comics proper looks like it's going through a lot right now. So we will see. I know that they've got Green Lantern, and in the comics, worth asking, do you know how Jade and Obsidian get their powers? Is it just because they are the kids of
I think
Alan Scott.
Yeah, I think they're the kids of Alan Scott. I think that's the main reason. I know that's where Jade gets her abilities because she has green skin and she has very Green Lantern related abilities. In fact, I think she was a love interest of Kyle Rayner for a bit. I think Obsidian gets his abilities from his mom because she's the supervillain Thorn. I don't quite remember the specifics on that, but I think it just feels more likely considering that like Green Lantern has been weirdly like absent from a lot of these shows. I think it's more likely that we see those characters because Obsidian even showed up in the Justice Society in Legends of Tomorrow season 2.
I can't believe we did that too. We already did this story.
Yes,
I can't believe we already did this.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't mind seeing those characters. I wouldn't mind seeing like the Green Lantern being used proper. I know it's broken right now, so that'd be interesting to see how they try to fix it, and maybe that's what turns maybe two people that are like Alan Scott's kids like into those, whatever. Like maybe there's a reason for like it being broken and not working right. Apparently, the Green Flames during the battle in the opening of the season of the series were Green Lantern, and he was actually thrown from the building.
Oh wow!
So like which was kind of a cool Easter egg, and like Sandman's there as well in that opening battle. So there's still
Sandman's
a lot of JSA characters to use.
I always like Sandman's design with the gas mask and everything, so I wouldn't mind seeing him show up at some point.
Agreed. And like that's a pretty easy one to pass down because it's just like a sleeping gun and then punching.
Yeah.
But I would like to hear from you guys what your theories are for the ages and reason why these characters have lived so long. There might, of course, there'll be an explanation in the comics, but those explanations change quite often.
Yes.
With the Justice Society appearing in Doomsday Clock most recently, like that hasn't really been explained. They're just brought back into continuity. But hey, I'm not going to be a stickler. I don't care. It's kind of fun to see all these like older characters and new characters hang out together. But I'm most excited for seeing these legacy characters take up the mantle in the Stargirl series. And this episode I thought was pretty solid. It made Dr. Mid-Nite and Hourman very distinct from the rest of the JSA. And I appreciated it. And I like the characterization. I like this group that's coming together so far. And I'm excited to see what other characters we're able to bring in before the end of the season. Also just learn what's going on. Not really sure what's going on right now, but that's okay. I think so far, I've been very interested in this premise, and I'd give this episode a solid 8.5. I know we give that a lot, but it feels usually right with a lot of the stuff we watch.
Yeah, I thought this was one of the better episodes of Stargirl so far, too. I would also give it an 8.
There you go. Let us know what you think in the comments down below and what you think is the reason why they have not aged. And also let us know what you think of Harley Quinn. And we've got reviews for Doom Patrol Season 2, the first 3 episodes we've been able to check out, but we cannot talk about just yet. So please go check out those videos when they go live and support us on Patreon, listen to our podcast, and follow us on Twitter. I'm at Sam Basher.
I'm at DJ Talks Trash.
At Only Stupid Answers.
You ain't got the vowels from stupid.
And gang, tweet us your thoughts on all of these shows, and we will see you guys next time.
Bye-bye.